Welcome to Think Bigger Voices, hosted by Jennie Treby and co-produced by Tony DiBenedetto. We're on a mission to break the cycle of poverty for kids in America by inspiring education, advocacy, and action in our communities. We'll tackle big subjects, talk to the experts, and promote the solutions making an impact. Join us if you believe that every kid deserves the opportunity to think bigger.
Welcome to Think Bigger Voices. I'm Jennie Treby. We're on the road in the greater Washington, D.C. region where we have some fantastic people doing some wonderful things with Think Big for Kids. At the helm of our initiative here to grow Think Big is the Fairfax County Economic Development Authority. And here to talk to us today is Mike Batt, Vice President of Talent. Mike, welcome.
Hey, thank you. Appreciate it. Looking forward to the conversation.
Yes, absolutely. Let's begin by telling us a little bit more about your role as VP of Talent and can we call it the EDA?
Sure.
For short?
Yes, yes.
Great.
So Fairfax County Economic Development Authority, we'll just refer to as the Fairfax EDA. It's been around for 60 plus years, and its core charter is to bring businesses to the region, to the county, and to retain businesses here and help them thrive. It's the commercial tax base that helps fund our schools that we'll talk about here, and our roads, our police, and everything that we do to help balance our personal property taxes. So it's a great organization I'm thrilled to be part of and lead a unique piece of that economic development arm. It's our talent programming that we launched about 6 years ago now. And very few economic development corporations or authorities have this around the country. And it's all, the focus is to help our companies find talent and retain talent in the region.
So it's a newer role for you in that you had, a 30-year career in technology, 20 years with Microsoft. So tell me a little bit about that and how you went from, Microsoft to leading talent for the EDA.
It was a big pivot from coming from the corporate world, a little less stressful. It's more fun. It's giving back. But, I was born and raised in this area and grew up here and found my way into Microsoft as part of the journey and spent 20 plus years there, all in public sector though. So I was supporting customers in federal and state and local. So I worked with local jurisdictions, both schools and government. So it was a natural transition after 30 years in the tech world and sales and marketing to find this role to support our businesses and the county as a whole, because I know the county well. I knew the tech world. I have the network to really help connect our businesses to the talent that's out there.
Well, and you mentioned a word, marketing, and I think that marketing is such a big component, right, of an economic development corporation or authority, because you're really trying to market your region. Right?
Absolutely, we do. That's our core focus is marketing. We help showcase our companies and showcase what they do around here. We showcase all of the educated talent that's here. Our schools, we have amazing schools. We can talk a little bit about that because that's what we're doing with this with Think Big for Kid in the region. So that's what we do. We have a team that goes out and identifies companies looking to expand or relocate to this region. Not only nationally but globally, and then we have the marketing arm that helps promote those companies and helps them thrive.
So, can you tell us a little bit more about some of the initiatives that you have going on with the EDA? So,
really, it's the core initiatives are in recruiting these businesses. So we'll have a team that goes out and helps them if they're looking for a specific space or they're looking for a location for a headquarters or a division. our team will go out and help them find the real estate in a way where they're not being sold on particular property. It's like, hey, here's the opportunity for you if you want to be near a metro or near particular schools or wherever it might be for their employees. We help them identify that. We can also help with incentives that might be out there from the state level to bring their business here and bring their employees here again for that tax base. So that helps with all the great resources that we have in this region. So that's our core focus. And then from the talent side, what we're doing is K through 12 that we'll talk about with Think Big for Kids, and really starting that particular program within our talent area is one of the newer ones. For us out of the gate 5+ years ago, it was launching a talent site that has all the jobs out there for us. And then we hired a veteran. There's a big military community here in this region and around the country, and there's about 200,000 veterans that transition out every year across the Department of Defense. And so our companies want to hire those veterans and the military spouse that are here. So we have a veteran that works very closely with that world. We have someone that focuses on higher education. And then we found through connections and me having the background working at Microsoft, and the founder here of Think Big for Kids, Tony DiBenedetto, had a company that worked closely with Microsoft. So we found when I learned of Think Big for Kids, it was a natural fit to integrate them into our programming here in the county.
Yeah, so we started here, in 2023 with Amir Capriles. So tell us about how that happened, how that partnership got started.
It was really interesting because we were trying to figure out, the Economic Development Authority, how to get into the schools and really bring our businesses into the schools to help kids understand the amazing careers they can have here. And so I saw that Tony started Think Big for Kids, and I reached out to him saying, hey, tell me more about it so I can potentially volunteer. I was looking at it as a side volunteer opportunity. And
really? Just for yourself?
Just for myself.
Interesting.
But Tony and Executive Director Amy Alley flew up and spent the day with Amir and myself. Amir and I both knew Tony because we were both at Microsoft. So we spent a day with him, and by the end of that meeting, I said, I'm going to go back to the president of our Economic Development Authority and share what we're doing here. And next thing I knew, he gave us a head count and a budget to go launch this region of Think Big for Kids here in Fairfax County Public Schools.
Why do you think it's important, though, to combine, nonprofit work in with business? Like, what benefit does that have?
It's critical that our companies engage in the communities where they live and work, where their employees live and work, to the schools. I didn't know this until I joined the Economic Development Authority, but over 50% of the revenue, the tax base for this county, and most of them around the country, but over 50% of our tax revenue goes to the schools,
really?
To Fairfax County Public Schools. And so I've heard our chairman say it many times, is we will invest $250,000 approximately for a student that go through our school systems from kindergarten through 12th grade. We want to keep them here to take advantage of all these amazing careers and this community where we all live. So that's why it's really important for our companies to engage with nonprofits in certain areas and Think Big for Kids with all of their pillars, and starting out where we started with the career showcases is just a perfect fit for our companies and for what we're doing to bring our companies together with the school system.
Really connecting the dots.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So far, we call it the Greater Washington D.C. region, so that we're kind of inclusive of the whole area. But it's something over 25 partner companies now, and these are big. Like, many of them are Fortune 500 companies. How did you go about selling what you're doing with Think Big for Kids? Like, how did you say, hey, we're going to do this, why don't you come on board with us?
Yeah, let me touch real quick before I forget about it on the Greater Washington region and why we branded it Greater Washington region, because we could have just said Fairfax County, but we want all of our regional jurisdictions across Virginia, Maryland, DC to embrace Think Big for Kids and expand across this region. So this is the Greater Washington region of Think Big for Kids, and we have developed a model and have it here and want to help share that with our other jurisdictions in the region.
It's very forward thinking, and it will make it easier to scale. Yeah,
Absolutely.
It was a good decision to do that.
Yeah. And so out of the gate, it was basically relationships that Amir and I had and a few others with our companies. So of course we went to Microsoft first. So we have Microsoft that's a partner. But we wanted to make sure we diversified the company base. So through connections, through our relationships we have with through the EDA, we brought in trades. We have Virginia Tire and Auto. We brought in small businesses. We brought in large businesses. So we have, healthcare. We wanted to make sure we had that diversity of organizations so our kids could be exposed to all the amazing opportunities here. And that's where we started. And now we're at a point where we're working aggressively to market more to our companies to make them aware, because almost 100%, I don't know that anybody we reached out to said, does it make sense for us? Companies saw the value in it, and our school systems loved it as well. So it's a perfect fit, and every company we've reached out to says, how can I help?
Well, they're building their future pipeline.
Absolutely.
Right? And plus, it just feels good. When you go in and you work with these kids, it's just, you don't leave feeling bad. You feel like you feel energized and like you're really doing something.
Yeah.
Are there any particular industries in this area that are kind of more popular or more high growth than others?
This region is really, it's a high-tech region, so there's technology jobs everywhere. Healthcare is large, government contractors, because we're at the doorsteps of the federal government. And so there's opportunities for our companies to come here, and that's why we're a thriving community, because public policy. Companies can be here and be close to shaping public policy for the country and for all of us. So that's really key. And so we're looking to just continue to expand on that.
Well, and it's just neat for kids growing up in an environment where they have so much access, if they're introduced to it, to so many, as you mentioned, so many different industries, which, as we know, even within the industry, there's so many different roles and functions that there's something for everybody. So they can find their path.
I have here a good example of one as we're looking to expand into many other industries.
Can you pick it up or just
sure.
Tell us a little bit more?
I'll tell you a little bit about this, because
this is really cool.
One of the other industries, as we're looking to diversify the industry, is space, aerospace. So we're big in cyber, we're big in quantum computing, and lots of other things that are continuing to diversify this region. But space is a huge one here now. And it's not just thinking about going to the moon or to Mars or wherever it can be. It's satellites, and think about how we're accessing GPS for our to get to from one place to the next, for example. So it's a lot of different things. And so we were introduced to this amazing company, Lingo, and it's actually a NASA engineer. Aisha Bowe is the founder of this. Wow. And so Lingo, she created this company to get kids excited about careers in STEM and space. And so the kit that's sitting right here is a kit that we're taking into the schools with one of our partners, General Dynamics Information Technologies, that helps kids build these little technology kits. And if they plug them in correctly, the lights come on and the horns beep and the kids go crazy on it, and it helps them understand this is the first phase of what it'd be like to get into engineering or to get into science and technology and math that can lead them to careers in space and other areas.
So you were mentioning that you were actually there when I think was it a career showcase that the kids were, or was it a field trip or a career showcase that the kids had that they were working with Lingo?
Well, out of the gate, we just found them in the last number of months and they connected us, Lingo with GDIT, General Dynamics Information Technologies, and they've already done showcases in 4 or 5 different schools here in Fairfax County. But they were doing a training session with Lingo, training the General Dynamics team before they went into the schools. And I mentioned to you, I was like, I built that kit right there, and I was as excited as the kids when I saw the lights go off and it beat, because I was like, this is never going to work. And they plugged it in and it worked. And we've already seen the kids getting excited the exact same way.
Oh, that's such a great resource. Yeah. That's so neat. So speaking of the schools, you have a very special relationship with Educate Fairfax. So just tell us a little bit about that and how that partnership works.
It's a perfect match for us. I know Think Big works with other nonprofits around the regions around the country, and we looked in some of those. But because we are a county authority, and so we have the relationships with the schools, we went directly to Fairfax County Public Schools and found that they were hungry to bring our companies in. They really wanted to. The school superintendent, Michelle Reed, came and spoke to our board of the EDA and said, I need your help, bring your companies in. And so Educate Fairfax is the nonprofit arm of Fairfax County Public Schools that allows us to provide funding for field trips and for buying these kits of lingo and different scenarios. So it's a great, strong relationship with the nonprofit arm, Educate Fairfax, and the schools and our businesses to collaborate to get the kids introduced to careers, and then actually help them and with field trips and come bring them to our companies and show them what the opportunities are here in this region.
Well, and it's really kind of cool that the EDA is at the center of it. You're kind of making sure that everybody gets connected and
Absolutely.
Bringing them together.
And every day people are like, I didn't know you do this, that an EDA would help connect us, a company, with our schools so we can engage and help build that future workforce. And our boards love it, the schools love it, the kids love it, everybody. And every time we're in the schools, a principal will come up to us, or a teacher will come up to us and say, you can't imagine how this has changed our kids' lives.
Oh,
there was one amazing story with a different kit, but a kit like this where you had a classroom full of kids that a lot of them were really shy, but a couple of them were struggling to build those kits, but a couple of the kids really got it. I mean, you could see they were going to be the future engineers. They went over and helped those other kids finish those kits. And so that teacher came over to me just about crying, say, these kids wouldn't barely lift their heads up. And look what you're doing. You're helping these kids collaborate and build bonds. It's just an amazing
getting them
example.
Engaged. Yeah. And how fast it happens,
Yep.
right? It doesn't take a whole lot.
Yeah.
Just some time and some commitment and some resources. What do you see as the biggest priority, both in your role in talent and in the partnership, with Think Big and Educate Fairfax?
It's really just to continue to build on the momentum we have. We're only in 7 or 8 middle schools, a number of the high schools now, but there's 18 middle schools and their principals that have said, bring your companies to us. We love what you're doing. So we're continually trying to build on those 20 plus company partners that we have. And that's why I know Tony just came up and flew up, and the team from Think Big in Tampa, so that we could drive more awareness to our companies. And we just had an event where one of our partner hosts, ICF, hosted a number of companies to get them awareness on what Think Big for Kids is doing and how they're collaborating with the schools.
To that end, what do you think? Because I know one of the things you're passionate about is obviously this partnership with Think Big, because it's you can see the impact. It's very fast, that you can see the success. What do you think that other economic development companies or authorities or, those kind of organizations can learn from this partnership?
I think, if economic development organization anywhere in the country listens or is aware or learns about this organization, you really need to consider engaging your schools and talk about how you can leverage a Think Big partnership to go in and get, again, your companies connected with your schools. It's building that future workforce. It's keeping those kids you're going to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars in educating in the region where you've just educated them to help fill all the jobs that you have in your region. So I think it also helps in recruiting more companies to your region. So if you think about the value prop for the economic development corporations around the country, one of the top things, if not the number one thing our companies tell us now when they're considering our location is, tell me about your talent pipeline. What is your region? What's your talent pool look like? And what are you doing to make sure you're building that future workforce? So that's a number one topic that company executives tell us when they come here. They're like, if we're going to bring our employees here, we need to know you have good schools. You're investing in your schools in the future for those kids. And so this is a perfect fit for economic development corporations, authorities to engage with the schools and their businesses.
Well, and it's clearly a direct impact to the bottom line and to your success too, right?
It does.
It's like a win-win-win.
Absolutely. Companies tell us all the time they chose us because of how we're investing in our talent and how we are investing in the future of our kids that are in our schools here.
That's pretty cool. Mike, in your opinion, just from the time you've spent, here, you were born and raised here in Fairfax County. What do you see as the biggest challenges for kids?
Really awareness. I talk to people all the time that now see what we're doing in the schools, and every one of them, the first thing out of their mouth is, I wish I would have had this opportunity when I was in middle school. I wish people would have told me what all those logos meant on the side of those buildings I drive by every day. So it's really, that's the biggest hurdle for our kids, is understanding what amazing career opportunities they have right here in their backyard. They don't have to consider moving somewhere else to go find a good job or a career. They're all here.
Right. Well, and for those kids who we're helping, who are financially disadvantaged or underserved, it's providing those resources so they can get there.
Absolutely. That's the thing, is this is one of the wealthiest counties in this country, but there's still approximately 30% of the kids in our public schools live at or below the poverty line.
Wow.
So that's almost 60,000. We have a lot of students in this school district, 185,000. And so there's a lot of them that would fall through the cracks. We want to connect them and get them exposure to these careers, and then keep moving down the pillars of Think Big for Kids and get them a mentor, which is what we're now doing in the high schools. And then make sure we help them find those internships. So we're working with another nonprofit that really focuses on just internships for high schoolers, and tying them with Think Big for Kids. So it's really every step of the journey that a student would have in our schools. It's important for us to engage them as community businesses and an economic development organization to help them through that journey.
I can imagine, too, that when you're out there talking to prospective companies, that it's really good to be able to answer for, okay, hey, if you've got 30% of your students at or below poverty, struggling to make ends meet, which is probably more than 30%, that you're doing something about it, that you have a solution.
Yes. No, and we tell that story. We have companies that are now filming directly with the schools. It's not Think Big, it's not economic development, but Fairfax County Public Schools. We're working with some of our partners that are doing the career showcases, out showing what our companies are doing to invest in the kids in our public schools here. So it's a really amazing story.
Yeah. Final question for you, Mike, from a business perspective. Because I asked this question of every guest, but in your case in particular, where you're out there really trying to attract and retain business, what is one thing a person can do to help a kid in need?
It's volunteer. There's so many volunteer opportunities. We need more volunteers to help us in every part of the journey, not only with Think Big but for other areas. I mean, it could be come be a host at one of the middle schools, so kids have a consistent face and name and somebody they get to know, because we're bringing different companies in every month to a school. And kids, if they're like, oh, this is Think Big for Kids, and they're bringing in another company, volunteer to be a host at a school that's near you. Volunteer to be a mentor. Volunteer to support a showcase for your company, and then get your companies engaged. No matter where you work, what industry you're in, tell your leadership about organizations like this so they can get engaged as well. I think that's really the most important thing I could leave you with.
That's great. Mike Batt, thank you so much. You're obviously doing such a phenomenal job here. We're looking forward to continuing the partnership, and thank you for all that you and the Economic Development Authority of Fairfax County is doing. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for spending your time with Think Bigger Voices. Visit thinkbigforkids.org/podcast to see more episodes, follow our journey, and stay connected.